We are live on my Facebook page, Annette, known as Annette. I do encourage you to click that share button. Click it, just click it, click it. I promise you, you don't have to pay a thing. Your phone will not blow up. Your computer will not blow up. Just click it. Let someone know that we are on live. And then also, the audio portion of this live feed is on my YouTube channel right now. So if you go to YouTube, go and type in Get Caught in Annette, Anet. You will hear the audio portion, and at the end of tonight's session, the video will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. So I am so excited. I know we're just a little bit behind time on tonight, but that's okay. We won't talk about someone, but we are going to actually introduce to you a few individuals. That was an insider. See, if they had just played along with me, you would have seen, that's okay. Someone's spelling out names here, but that's okay. I love everybody that's on here. I have actually encouraged, asked, begged, whatever you want to call it, my co-host from A&D Conversation to come and join me on this evening, and he is here live and in color. Apostle Dion Hunt, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, live and in color. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm in color.
I'm glad you're in color too.
Annette, you the hardest working woman in show business.
That's the truth.
That's
the truth.
Yeah, you are. We're just gonna have to give you that moniker. You're doing a wonderful job, though. You're doing your thing. I'm glad to be on the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Whenever I have special segments, I immediately think about Apostle Hunt and asking him to come and join me, especially depending upon the topic. And it's a hot one tonight. So thank you for accepting. You see that we have three different couples with us on this evening. I'm going to see if I can maybe go in birth order and introduce who we have on tonight. I'm sorry. I was looking.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking at you see why I'm laughing because of that look that I just received.
All right.
We have there are no strangers to Mind, Body, and Soul. We have the wonderful Joe and Brandy McCord in the virtual house. How are you all doing?
We are wonderful. Awesome. We are wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. And good. So glad that you all
look
are
awesome.
Here. Well, thank you. So do you, darling. So do you. And you too, Joe. And you too, Joe.
That was a
I know that was leftover.
That was a leftover.
Leftover. It was a good leftover though. And then we're moving on. I believe I'm moving on to Nikki, right? Adam and Nikki Harvey. They're in the house.
Baby sis.
Yes.
It's good to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Well, I'm so glad that you are here. So glad that you both are here and going to engage in this conversation with us. Now, of course, Adam is no stranger to A&D Conversation, if you will. And so we have him over on the Mind, Body, and Soul side on this evening. And then Nikki, this is her first time, but that's okay. I know she's going to do wonderful. And lastly, in the birth order we have here is Mr. Marcus Hill and the lovely Carmen. How are you all doing on this evening?
Great.
Wonderful. Good to see you again. I'm starting to get used to seeing you every day, which is my favorite part of the day. I'm honored to be on with your panel with my pastor and my sisters and my brother.
All right. So Marcus just made the connection. That's why I said birth order. They are related. We have the two sisters and the one brother here in the house, and their spouses are with them. So I am like ecstatic about this show on tonight. We're going to talk to these couples on tonight, interracial couples versus racial tensions in the climate that we are in today. Now, unless you live under a rock, you should know what I am referring to. There's a lot that's going on. We've had to encounter, and you know what? Honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I'll be straight out the box and say, I'm not in an interracial marriage, and that this is not something that I think about, initially, like how interracial couples are dealing with this racial tension. I'll just be honest. I really haven't thought about it. And so this is another reason why it's good for us to come together tonight and have this conversation. Now, I think I can put the blame on Marcus and Carmen for this topic. I think I can.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering.
That's what we get.
I was wondering. It's an awesome topic.
Necessary, very necessary.
Yep, it's an awesome topic.
I think so. Marcus came to me with it. Now he said Carmen gave him the idea. That's what he told me. And then I said something to Carmen, and Carmen said it was Marcus's idea. So it's just the two of them together. They
I like that.
Been talking about it lately.
Yeah. Right. So with that in mind, and because I put the two of you like on blast a little bit there, can you tell me first and foremost your thoughts or your reasoning why you initially wanted to venture into a topic such as this? Carmen, Marcus, no, don't everybody speak at once now.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the reason why, because we had initially been talking about this. Honestly, I mean, over the years, obviously, we've encountered so much pushback, but also good. It wasn't always negative, but we have encountered negative situations where people didn't agree with us being together. And then when everything started happening with this whole, with the police, brutality and then justice, and it's been happening for years, obviously. But this year, I think, I don't know what is it? Maybe 2020 vision is just a year of people are starting to see things a lot clearer, and it's in front of us. And it affected him like way more than anything.
Let me speak for
No.
myself.
Well, I mean, this is from my point of being with him, like living with him, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it emotionally and mentally, and it started our conversations. It started getting deeper and digging into, unfortunately, we saw a lot of our friends and people that we thought were never going to be, I don't even want to say, racist. Unfortunately, we kind of got to see true colors this year of certain people. And I think for both of us, that's how we started our conversation. Like, are you seeing this? Are you hearing this?
You seeing the same thing I'm seeing?
Yeah, and I think that's, and that's why Marcus started this whole Black Wall Street thing, because he was like, you know what, we need to do something about this, because, people I'm tired of people pointing out the negatives. No, we're bringing back, from that Black Wall Street that he taught a couple of weeks ago, that's coming back, and that's a mission that I feel that God put in his heart to do, and he's like running with this nonstop, which you guys all know, you've seen it. So I think that's how it started with us, like the conversation.
I love it. Marcus, did you want to add to that? Because you said something about speaking up for yourself or something.
So I believe that talking is a start to healing a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of people that feel the same way as a lot of other people, but they don't know they feel the same way because nobody talks about it. And you can go a long time with holding in a lot of stuff, and it'll eat you away if you don't talk about it and it comes out. And I think once you start coming out with certain things and having conversations like you on your show and that, and Apostle Hunt, then I think understanding comes next. And those are at least a good start to a lot of things. And I've been talking to a lot of people. Not a lot of a lot of people have been listening. Some people have not. Some people have. Not my problem. But I know that's a good part. So I know being on this show and having the conversations will, especially with my closest people, like everyone on this call, are like the closest people to me in my life, period. And we're all part of the nice rainbow. And I love that. I think that's probably one of the most interesting testaments to tell, is that we're a family. We're not friends. We're in a family.
Mm-hmm.
We love each other. So it must be something else out there other than, this black and white thing going on.
Yeah.
And like I said, once it comes out, then that starts the whole healing process.
I love it. I couldn't have said that better myself. I do agree with you. That's excellent. Now, I'm glad you both gave your explanation of how we got to even this topic. Now, when you presented it to me,
It's the right family.
Right.
and I said, well, why don't you reach out to them first, and then I will do the follow up. So that's what we did, and I mean, it was perfect. And you did it like the same day, so you were like really on it. You were on time for that. But anyway,
Oh no,
I called it late. But I called it.
that was amazing. That was amazing.
It was.
I was a little late too.
no, I have nothing but love for you, Marcus. Nothing but love. Nothing but love.
That was amazing, Annette.
I don't even know why I did this because Brandy kept. I can't even continue with Brandy.
No, Annette, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
That was amazing. That was pretty amazing.
I was going to ask is when it was presented to you, sisters and your spouses, so the other two couples, the McCords and the Harleys, what were your initial thoughts about the topic itself? And then, okay, should I do this or should I not? Because everybody's not willing to, like Marcus say, talk about it.
Yeah.
Everybody, something like this is not like it is, something haphazard or something easy to discuss. So what were your thoughts when we presented it to you? I don't know who wants to go first.
I'll go. Marcus actually called me when I was working out, and the timing was extraordinary because I needed
I remember that day.
yeah. The timing was extraordinary because it just so happened where I said, you know what, I need to get out of this house. I'm watching too much on my screen. I need to get out this house. Let me go for I want to say run, but I can't run. Let me go for a power walk. And I was getting it. And so I was right in the middle of this. I had my music going. I had my Black Power music going and stuff like that. And Marcus called me. And I don't know why I heard, we need to talk about this. Black and white sunset. And I just went in. Yeah, what happened? What? Yes. What you need to talk about? And he's like, no, show with the net. So I was, oh, okay. Yeah, because I was ready. And it was the timing was perfect because I was like, we're so focused on the plight of the Black man right now and the plight of the Black woman right now, rightfully so, because globally we're going through it. But nobody's making room for this conversation because we want to say, well, it's not valid right now. I said it's not valid right now, and that was a mistake. So this conversation is just as important. No, I'm gonna say this conversation is next. This ain't as important as us being shot to death in our sleep and people getting away with it. But this is a very important conversation we have to have because the world is divided right now, and a lot of it is divided between race lines. So what about the houses that have two races in them trying to coexist, trying to keep going on with their relationships and their marriage? And what if there were problems before? Now you got another problem. So it's a conversation that we need to have. Marcus and Carmen, I'm so glad that was God, because really nobody's trying to have this conversation. We're just we got more important things to think about. No, you need to think about this right now because it's going on in your house. This is what you come home to every day. So I thought it was a great idea. I wish I came up with it and wish I could take credit for it, but
Okay. Well, that was a great response. So I didn't even have I don't think it would be any issues with Brandy popping on board. I really didn't.
No.
Joe, we're speaking for you.
Well, I mean, I already put myself out there with A&D Conversation in 2 shows, so this is actually watered down compared to that. And that sounded bad, didn't it? Yeah.
it did.
Not
So
watered
clarify
down.
what you mean.
What I clarify is that I was by myself on A&D Conversation, so and this is more about all of us together having the conversation.
Yeah, he was in the direct line of fire when it was just him. So
That's right.
yeah, clean that up. He cleaned that up really good.
You did good. I'll give you 2 thumbs up for that. That's good. Good job. But thank you for that. Adam and Nikki, your thoughts.
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest. I had serious reservations when Marcus first introduced it. I actually thought about it overnight, and I was going to decline the invitation. And
Oh, I didn't think she was gonna do
in a nutshell,
I
this
thought
is
so too.
why.
I didn't think she was gonna do it.
Yeah, this is why. Adam and I are learning each other when it comes to this sort of thing. I think Adam's been what I've learned over the years, especially this year with all the, the political climate, is that Adam's been a little sheltered when it comes to these tensions and how to, not these tensions, but how to express what you feel and what you're thinking. So what I've had to learn is we've had to have dialogue. I think in the beginning stages of discussing this topic, I was so accustomed to my brothers, my dad, Joe, who are militant. I mean, it's no holds barred with what you think, and it's like I'm gonna say what I think, and you like it or you don't. Not my problem. Tends to be a little bit more skittish when it comes to it, and I understand it. I think what I've had to learn, I was very impatient with it at first because I didn't understand. But I think the more I try to understand, the more I realize that he's grown up in a certain environment, and now he's learning this. When I see him get upset about it, I mean, he really gets upset and uncomfortable about it, and he's very concerned and uncomfortable with knowing that I'm upset about it. But I speak my mind about it, and I get upset. I'm very vocal about it, and I'll talk for 30 minutes before I realize, okay, he's looking at me, and I don't know if he's
right.
scared because
Right.
I'm yelling or he doesn't understand. But I think Adam's more a peacemaker slash
Yeah.
keeper.
Yeah.
And so I've basically learned to be more considerate of not just put it all out there and what you see is what you get, but to be more considerate of the fact that he is learning how to respond to these situations the way I do. And I mean, that's a difficult lesson to learn. It's still, we still have our roadblocks with that. But it's a part of marriage. It's part of compromising, learning someone else, and So I'm glad I did it because it's actually refreshing now that we're talking about it. And I guess I don't know, maybe this is a counseling session for us that we had to plan for. But yeah, I have my reservations, but I'm glad we're doing it. It is a great topic, definitely necessary.
I thank you for your transparency because we need to hear that.
Yeah.
We need to hear all of
I
it.
didn't think Nikki was gonna do it.
Okay.
Nope.
Up until today when you were sending us messages like, okay, log in early, blah blah blah. I was like, Nikki, watch. I said it's gonna be me, Carmen Marcus. I said Nikki's not gonna log. Something gonna happen. And Carmen, help me, Carmen.
I did only because no. But not I maybe Brian's intervention was different, but I thought she wasn't gonna do it because Nikki's very private.
Private.
Exactly.
You're
You
extremely
know,
private.
And that actually, Carmen hit the nail on the head. I was actually telling Adam when he was like, if you want to do it, let's do it. And I was like, I'm extremely private, but I think I might be a little too private because it makes him uncomfortable how private I am. So.
Yeah. That's what I said. Nikki's private. She's not gonna go on talking. First of all, she's not gonna go on talking about her marriage, period. And then you want to add in this stuff, she's not gonna do it. Because when Nikki, I know one thing, when Nikki gets angry and she gets started, and hi, sweetie.
Are you beautiful?
When Nikki gets started, you can't stop her. when she gets to a certain point. So I knew that would be a concern for her.
Right. Okay. All right. It was actually good to see your baby, because I'm going to go into some things later.
Oh,
Talking about all this that we're doing with the international couples. Adam, I want to give you a voice real quick before we jump right on in.
I was game to do it right off the bat. But like Nikki said, I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. So I have a totally different view of the way things are. It's not like I'm stupid about what's going on in the world or whatever, but at the same time, I have a different way of looking at it because I come from the middle of nowhere, and so I tend to be real held back about what I say because, for the prime example, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm more of a peacekeeper and peacemaker, and I'm just be quiet, let them say what they want to say. I'm just sitting here.
It's not a good time for that.
Yeah,
But it's different.
we're and like I said, a roadblock. We're because, and not to cut you off, the thing that concerns me is if we ever have an offspring, and that offspring ever experience child, you know what I meant, child, son or daughter, that child would need to.
I just turned.
Oh, okay. They would need, and I don't know, maybe I'm just,
But I think if we ever have a child, that child will probably have one of the broadest spectrum of
Yep.
upbringing.
Yep.
Because, like what we were talking about earlier with Tyler Dawson Brandon's variety of music. She has one style, I have several styles that I grew up on. She has more of the city style growing up. I have more of the country and stuff. Our kids would grow up really well balanced. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And the thing is, if I can interject for a second, I feel Adam on that because, I mean, I had an upbringing too, in out in the woods, and then I moved to Joliet my freshman year of high school, so it's a big change. But I remember when the tragedy with Trayvon, and that was actually the beginning of my growth because I was like Adam, I was very silent. First, because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
I had
exactly.
no idea. I mean, I'm sitting like, what do you say? And then I'm watching certain members of my family, my side, not be as vocal as they should be, or saying the wrong things, or I'm finding out that, and I'll just say it. I mean, I find out that some of them were racist, as we continued through the years, and it was things that I didn't want to face, and I didn't talk about it again. But finally, Adam, I just had to be vocal. And that's why when you see my posts now on Facebook or something, I'm like, come at me, because I've come to the point where come at me, bro. I've come to the point where I'm just too tired and too frustrated and too annoyed to deal with all the fake, fake stuff.
Careful.
I'm being careful. So, and I will say, Adam, I think there's gonna be a day where, like with me, you're just gonna have that epiphany.
I think so too.
Wrong thing to Nikki.
Yep.
And you're gonna snap.
That's gonna be it.
It's coming.
and it
That's
makes
gonna
you
be it.
have a child, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it coming. It's inevitable.
And
And I would like somebody to film it if I'm not in the room, please.
So I used to be like Adam and Joe. I used to be very quiet, and I know. I mean, I'm Mexican, so I used to tell Marcus, like when all this stuff was going on over the years, I used to say comments like, "Oh, I know how you feel. We've been through," and then Marcus would look at me like he would be nice and be like, "Okay," but deep down he was like, "No, you don't."
Yeah.
And it took me a while because I thought I knew what it was to be in those shoes because obviously Latinos do go through their own struggles too, but then I realized I couldn't comprehend his level.
Right.
And I was always thinking, me being quiet and maybe, because I'm the peacemaker too. I'm the no, let's all get along and let's, flowers and rainbows and. But
Right.
sometimes, unfortunately, you do get to the point. That's why I say when you have kids, where it's in front of you. Because I've had like Leia, kind of start questioning her roots and her like, well, mom, is the fact that I'm like this, is it wrong? And it's like a
you
smack in the
serious?
face. Like she's one time mentioned that to me. So why don't they like us?
Kids can be
Like,
harsh.
Kids can be harsh, and it's so, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting flashbacks of when I was little because, we've all been through some kind of, where we had to question, or at least for me growing up, I know I had to question my look, and, I always thought I wasn't worth, because of how I looked or whatever, and I don't want her to go through, I don't want her to think that just because she's Mexican or African American, that she's like, at the bottom of the pole when she's not. But I had to, and I know Marcus hates when I say this word, but I don't know what else to say. But I had to seek to understand his level because I didn't understand, and even before I was always saying, yeah, I know how you feel. No, I didn't.
Can I say something? I think it's really important. That is so important just to be able to say. Sometimes that is, and I feel you guys from Adam to Joe to Carmen. There is a fear or a discomfort in not knowing what to say.
True.
And if I open my mouth, and Joe articulated this excellently a few months ago, that sometimes it's just a fear of saying the wrong thing. You want to say something, but am I going to say the wrong thing? And then and you not really understand my heart. And I think sometimes it's just healthy, especially in a relationship, in a committed, intimate relationship with someone, to be able to articulate that I don't know what to say. Help me understand. I want to understand this. I know I can never possibly completely understand it, but because I'm in this relationship with you, I want to be able to understand the gravity of everything that's going on and be able to speak to it. Because here's the thing: if you are in a relationship with someone of a different race, and that particular race happens to be the target of oppression or racism, you have a responsibility
Yes, sir.
to at least try to seek to understand how to make that area of the relationship better. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you got to jump out in front of a moving train and say, I'm gonna, but you gotta be able to speak to it and understand, the plight of that. It's just me being a husband. And this is another show, but I'm just making a point. There's certain plights that women experience. I need to understand that.
Yes.
I've said this concerning, and this is a whole nother show too, concerning shepherds or pastors who are Caucasian. You really need to try to understand.
Yes, sir.
You have a segment of your congregation that's Black or Hispanic or any other race. If you're going to cover them, you got to know you have to understand them.
Yes, sir.
And you have to be able to at least speak to this and say, I stand against this, I denounce this, I don't believe in this, and I support my spouse or my significant other in this.
Love it.
Said.
Now y'all see why I get him to team up with me? That's what
Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
One thing that helps Brandy and I, and if I can interject, is that we are able to talk to each other about irrational thoughts because we all have them. We all have those things come into our heads. We're like, I know this is not right. It's not right to think this way. And she can come to me and I can come to her and we can talk about it because we know who we are. So having a spouse that you trust, who knows you and knows your heart, can help you grow immensely.
Okay. I love that. Oh, wait till the show's over, sweetie. All right.
Can I add one thing in that?
You have to watch Brandy. Go ahead, Margaret.
And I want to say it before I forget. So there's also, you have to be careful if you're in the interrelational
International?
international relationship.
Get it
Then-
right. Get it right.
Right. I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying. Then you have to, because a lot of the times I've witnessed me holding in stuff because I don't think Carmen can understand. I don't think Carmen would understand, and I don't even want to try going because this is going to frustrate me even more. So that's the wrong route to take. So I can't blame Carmen if I'm frustrated and she's not comforting me because I haven't let her know what's going on. I haven't let her know what the problem is. So this is why the talking part, and I have to get it because she's absolutely right. I have been like extra feeling a certain type of way these last couple months.
Oh, I've been extra too.
I've been a little extra. That is the person I'm supposed to be able to turn to deflate some of that pressure and that balloon is Carmen. But because we're in a different relationship, my sometimes arrogance comes out. I'm like, you ain't black. You don't know what we're going through.
Okay, I thought I was the only. See, the three of us, we should be
Yes.
reaching out to each other. This is the mistake we made. We
Exactly.
should have reached out to each other because we were encountering the same
Yes.
thing.
Really?
I got
But
dirty
guess
with
what?
it.
Yeah.
Guess what? Y'all all come from the same origin. Well, we don't feel the same. Y'all are siblings. And that was a question that I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Does that militant side ever come out?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I
Does that
answer?
militant side ever come out?
Let me come out. Let me come out. Let me answer real quick.
Hold on tight, because it's gonna be interesting when she get ready to say.
I'm going. This is real talk, and this is a safe space. But I owe Joe so much of an apology because we were walking around because I didn't process this right. See, there's no manual for being in it. There's thousands of manuals on getting in an interracial relationship, how to get you a white man, how to get you a black woman, how to get them in bed, how to get married to them, how to stay married, blah blah blah. There's no guide for being in an interracial relationship and having to go through this.
Right.
There is no guide for that. So I consider myself, I think we have a very healthy relationship. We talk, we love each other. We come, if we snap at each other, we're immediately coming back. So I'm not happy. I'm uncomfortable. We're like, I know, so we're those type of goofy, sappy. We're that type of couple. But when this started first happening, because I was so angry, I had to pray out of some stuff. I was angry with white people in general. So I retreated. So I'm retreating into myself. I'm angry. I go through a period of anger, severe anger, then disbelief and shock and hurt that my white counterparts have all this time. Some of my white counterparts all this time been smiling in my face, but this is how you really think. So I know Joe is not like that, but you're white. I'm tired of looking at your white face. I'm tired of looking at white. I'm just being real. I'm tired of seeing anything white right now is making me angry. I don't want to see your white face. I love you. I wasn't seeing Joe. I was seeing white. So I was being. Now we're in a house. We both work from home, so there's no break. There's no going to work and come back. We both work from home. I was avoiding him and to keep from snapping on him or not. I just didn't want to have a conversation with him. I was walking around. We would pass each other on the steps. I wouldn't look at him. Joe gets up super early in the morning to start work at his desk. I wouldn't even come in here. Say, hey, baby, I would avoid him. I don't want to look at your eyes because I don't want you to say anything to me. I don't want to have any kind of conversations with you. I don't want to see none of y'all right now. And I let that go so far because I was wallowing in my own and worried about my black sons and my black dad and my brother. I wallowed in that so long it turned into like a pit, and it turned into, now Joe, he's not confrontational. He's not confrontational, but he's hurting too. He loves my sons. He loves my brother. He loves his black friends. He loves his black family. Well, not, my family. So he's sitting here suffering the same thing, but he's going through a separate suffering because now we're all treating him like garbage. When he goes to the gas station, he's being treated like garbage. When he goes anywhere, black people are treating him like garbage because of what he looks like. Then you come home to your wife who don't want to talk to you. And I didn't sit to wonder. I'm going through what I'm going through. So I didn't stop to wonder, what are you going through anything? And then finally, when we did have a conversation and he built up the gusto or whatever to tell me, listen, he didn't say, I know what you're going through. He didn't say that, but he said, I'm angry. I'm angry about this too. This makes me angry. I'm worried about the boys, blah, blah, blah. Then he started to, and then I acted like I was listening. I played it real good for a couple of minutes. And I said, tell me more. So yeah, when I go to the gas station or when I go in public, I'm treated like garbage by Black people. I'm your friend, but people see my face, they see the color of my skin, and they treat me like garbage. And I was like, oh, what you're telling me is because of the color of your skin, wherever you go, you're treated like garbage, and it has nothing to do with you.
That's not how it
They don't. Listen, let me finish, and then you can tell how I actually. So I go. So people are treating you like garbage because of the color of your skin, and you feel slightly uncomfortable. I said, oh, okay, well,
Welcome.
now you know.
Tell me more about it.
Maybe you did right. Maybe you, and I am. I put my flavor on it. Joe is going to take the flavor off, but my point is, it's not completely anything. My point is, I wasn't even when he told me of his very valid issues that he was going through, I wasn't willing to listen to it, even though he's going through the pain of what I'm going through to a degree, a very strong degree. And then he's got a separate pain that he has to deal with. And I just wasn't a wife to him. Everything that was going on right now, I was not a wife to him. I position myself as an enemy. Of course, I wasn't his enemy, but so that's what was going on in our home. And I had to pray some stuff off of me. I was watching crime shows. You know how I love my true crime and I watch it all day, every day. I was watching some crime shows. I said, you know what? I want to see some white people do some stuff to white people for once, because I'm seeing all this white on Black. Let me watch some crime shows that make me feel better. That's how deep I had to pray. That's how messed up I was in my head. But it's real. This is like real, and it's not even something that I've had to. Marcus, Marcus, it's something I would never talk to about to anybody, because I feel like they would look at me a certain way. But go ahead and clean up, or
No.
tell them what I say was a lie.
Joe, if you want to say something, you can. But I have a question to ask behind that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, say what you guys.
No, go ask your question.
Okay. We are definitely saying that, of course, this is a safe space that we're in, right? Okay. Probably should have said that in the beginning. So, but we want to get down to the heart of this discussion and not holding anything back, if as much as we can. But it's not to expose anyone or to make them feel bad, whatever race, okay? But it's so that we can try and get some help to understand, because the racial tensions, the racial injustice that we're experiencing, don't see it going away anytime soon. We want it to, but how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? So that's really the premise, the reason why we're here, okay, having this conversation. And I love what you said earlier, and I have to throw this in, Brandy, about you all should have been talking to each other.
Yeah.
How do you deal with this, or how, girl, did you deal with this too, or what's or whatever, and what was your resolve in it? So my question to you is, you so eloquently, Brandy, talked about your feelings, and you were very transparent. You didn't want to even look at him. You're in the same house. You're there all day with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you then, and this may sound a little harsh, but Did any of you think of that before you got married? Did any of you think of these things? You know what I'm saying? Did any of this come across your mind? I think the couples here that have children together are Marcus and Carmen. Did you think about the impact that it would have on your children? Or, Nikki mentioned earlier about, if there were to be an offspring, as she called it, do you think about those things? Did any of this come to mind? Or was it, I'm so in love, I don't care, da 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 da? What, somebody jump in.
I thought about it probably a little bit too much before I got married, especially when we first started dating. I think versus Brandy and Marcus, this is the first interracial relationship I've ever been in. And the main reason I never really dated interracially before was because it's not that I'm just this militant Black power, everything Black. No, but I do respect and appreciate my Black people. I'm Black, and I'm Black, first and foremost before anything else. And one thing that I knew that I didn't have the patience to ever tolerate is being in a relationship with someone who didn't respect my Blackness as much as I do.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. I think that changed because as I got older, I kind of felt like, okay, you're being naive. Other people have gone into interracial relationships and they've grown together. And so he's a good man. Like I hate to, this is about to sound worse than I am intending for it to sound, but I had a checklist. Once you get older, you need a checklist. I had a checklist and he basically filled, I was able to scratch off every checklist.
Come on, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Come on, Seth.
We won't ask what that list was.
So that was what was important to me. I had my reservations about the race thing. I had reservations. And I think my mistake was not really, I don't think we talked about them, but like I think Joe said a little earlier, or Brandy said, it's a topic that I'm very, very passionate about. So I know that every time I approached him about it, I approached him incorrectly, it not in a way that he could receive it. And again, it's a learning process for me, because like Marcus was saying earlier, talking about the race thing, I think one of our issues right now is that I do get so emotional and upset about it. And because I get so emotional and upset that he doesn't get as emotional and upset, that what I do is I go and I spend time with friends, and I'll spend more time with friends because they can relate to what I'm going through. And then when I come home, he wants to laugh and joke and have cutesy conversations when I'm still on fire about this passionate subject that I can't talk to you about.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad it was refreshing to hear both of you, both Marcus and Brandy, express that, because I did think that I was the only one who was going through it, and I had no idea how to address it. But again, one part of the learning process for me, because I was single for a long time and very introverted and this is my space. I don't have to mold to what anybody else needs or feels or wants. And so this is a learning process to me. I check myself and I force myself to stop, just like Brandy said, and consider, okay, what is he going through? It's not all about what you're, whining and complaining about. What is his version? How is he feeling about knowing what I'm going through and not really knowing how to say it? So, I don't know. I just rambled a lot. I'm sorry, but yes, I
Talking
did.
good though. Talking good.
No, that was good. That was good, Nikki. Thank you for that. I'm going to allow the rest of you to answer if you want to, but the reason why I brought that up, just to give you a little bit of what I was doing when I was researching for tonight's show. Of course, I looked at the Loving versus Virginia case. You all know about, how many of you know about that?
Yep.
All right, you should. The Loving versus, make sure you guys look that up. That's the interracial couple who basically made headways, and then they were so influential that the Supreme Court overturned.
Yeah, we know about that. Sorry.
Jimmy, man, thank you.
Right, 19, help me out. I had it in front
Oh,
of
I
me.
don't know the year.
I'm going to find it. But yeah, this couple, I think it was overturned in 1967. Yeah. The Supreme Court overturned the legalized interracial marriage, that it couldn't be. They overturned that, okay, in 1967. And that kind of blew my mind. How 1967, that doesn't, actually that's when I was born, but and then there was an issue with them getting married in 1958. I think that's when they were married. I'm like, 1958, there was, really? But I'm telling you, the Lovings, how they displayed them in the movie, they were just so in love with each other, and they were so determined, to not have any restrictions on their love or their marriage, if you will. So they continued on fighting this. And so they actually, of course, made history, because the Supreme Court overturned that ruling. So yeah, I was asking all of that, your thoughts before you got married, how how it would affect your family, your children, or what have you, the politics, if you will, church, if you will, how your relationship is going to affect all of that, because that will come into play. One thing that the Mr. Loving's mother said, she told him one time after it was a whole lot that went on. She said to him, "You never should have married that girl." This is when they were married. She had just had her first baby, Mrs. Loving did. And he said, "Wait a minute, Mom, I thought you liked her." She said, "I like a lot of people." But she said, "You knew better." But
How about she knew better than to tell him after she had her first child with him about that?
know about that story.
Yeah.
It was just amazing to me. Their determination was amazing to me. And then, looking at the time frame when they get married, I'm just thinking
That wasn't that long ago.
Well,
No,
shouldn't
it wasn't.
forget today. I mean, that's
You
Right.
know,
They're
Yeah,
done.
we're going back. We're in 2020 dealing with the stuff that we're dealing with now.
Yeah.
What?
well, like
that's
maybe-
part of the issue, that it's like we're going back in time, or certain advancements socially and community wise.
Yep.
It's like that thread is being unraveled.
Yep.
Before our very eyes, and things are coming out. Things are just coming out, and the thing that hurts is when the thing comes out that you never expected.
Yep.
Or you never expected it from who it came out of. And so now you start questioning. You question the people who are close to you,
Mhm.
who just happen to be of a different race.
Because they all look the same.
Well, here's the thing.
People, they all look the same. So who is it now?
Most Black people, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, tell me I'm lying, tell me right here on this 80s and before, who were not sheltered, who experienced racism, we suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome.
100%.
We suffer from that.
100.
Part of the distress is the gaslighting mentality that says,
Yes.
"Oh, you're not going through that."
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so
roll off your shoulder.
we're constantly on guard,
Mhm.
and it's offensive to us, the very notion that how you gonna tell me I'm not feeling or not seeing what I'm seeing?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Talking about that today.
And so that's the thing. But guess what? When you're in that interracial relationship now, your counterpart begins to feel estranged.
Yeah.
And they feel, even though they're the closest in proximity, they're the
Yes.
furthest from you emotionally and socially, and they feeling like they're on this island now, you know. And so can any of you kind of speak to that,
Absolutely.
that mindset?
Okay, when you talk about the post-traumatic stress syndrome, I don't know if it's ever happened for Joe or Carmen or whatever, but growing up in rural Kansas, my dad, my real father, is from Georgia, and grew up out in the sticks and was pretty racist growing up. What I knew of him. Well, one day I go to school, and him and my mom had already divorced, and I go to school, and in history class they're talking about we're going to study the Southern states now. They're starting today. And me not meaning anything racial by it, I popped off and said, oh, the Southern states, I know all about these. Because my dad taught me about Georgia and Arkansas and Tennessee and stuff like that. Because that's where he grew up from. My intention, it wasn't even the direction I was going with it. So now that's kind of why I just, when certain things are said or certain topics are brought up, I just shut down and I don't say nothing because I don't want nothing I say to come across as he's being inappropriate, he's being racist when I'm not. And so it's just like, just this happened before, just be quiet and just get out. And
At least didn't. Yeah,
That is
stayed
PTSD.
with you.
I'm sorry, Carmen, go ahead.
Oh no, I said that experience stayed with him. So now it's almost like your mind got conditioned to, when it comes to, racial topics, it's like, no, let me stop, because what if I say it wrong? I don't want to offend anybody, and so yeah.
Your silence is even more,
But,
is even louder.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I would 100%, and I've never heard it put that way, Apostle Dion. But I think that was well said, that it's PTSD. I never thought of it that way, but that's what it feels like, because I remember my mom's aunt and uncle would take us, the four of us, camping when we were kids. And it was always in some woods out, and it wasn't far. It was like Southern Illinois. But I mean, they were racist out there. We were little kids. I think the oldest one of us, when we first started experiencing it, was maybe 7 or 8 years old. And here we are, these four little kids just minding our own business, walking around the woods, just innocent little kids. And I'll never forget, I was probably no older than maybe 7 or 8. And I'll never forget, we started hearing these somebody making monkey sounds, and we look over, and there's a family full of maybe 20, 30 adults. Adults in a backyard at the house, all hollering monkey sounds at us. White people. And I was so traumatized by it, because, here we are, these little kids being taught. Adults act a certain way and children act a certain way, but we had these adults actually intentionally insulting us and trying to hurt us, these little kids.
But please don't act like we didn't get back with them, though.
Yes. And I mean, this was every time we went camping. We're little kids experiencing things like that. It makes you grow up fast.
Yeah.
It does make you hate white people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember, I think for that entire year, I probably didn't get over it until maybe 12 or so months from then, because I was genuinely hurt. My little mind was trying to process.
Because you don't understand. Yeah.
Exactly. So to have to learn racism from childhood, when you don't have the mental and intellectual facility to process it the way and understand it the way you do, of course you're going to become an adult with PTSD, because it leaves scars. Exactly. It leaves deep scars. And I think that, and and that's why we get so emotional, and that's why I step away, and I'm learning how to communicate this to him, because when I get angry that he isn't as angry as I am, I have to remind myself he did not experience those things that I experienced. He doesn't know he can't really conceptualize where all of this is coming from. And no, I mean it's frustrating, but it's one of those things that you just take, you take the good with the bad, and we're growing together. But yeah, it's PTSD. I 100% agree. Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah, another question. I'll be quick. So, and it's wonderful how we should have gotten together before this.
We should have.
We have a friend that has they have a child that has a disability, right? And you know how you see the Facebook post on Facebook, support my child, support my child. You got a soft spot in your heart, but at the end of the day, you got your own stuff to deal with.
Right.
You got your own
That's
stuff.
good, Marcus.
You put a like and a share. We care.
Donate some money.
2 seconds, right. 2 seconds later, you forget about the post. So I understand, and this is why I'm grateful to have Adam and Joe, because I understand, and they understand a lot more than the regular friends that I have. But I understand the not really knowing, because schools didn't really talk about racism and slavery and all that stuff. Like growing up, we teaching about, Carmen and I are teaching about how Black Wall Street was created and destroyed. This year, you can't imagine how many people came to me and told me that they had no clue about.
No idea.
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Right.
That's
Right.
gonna be white history, not everyone's history.
Right. So it's history has been hidden a lot. So I can understand how people don't know.
Mhm.
But once you know, now living in this day and age of you have access to the internet, you
Thank
have
you.
access to
Thank
things like that. It's very simple to find out in 5 seconds. Like there's no excuse now. So it's hard to be in a Black man's shoes unless you're Black. I don't care if you get close to understanding and being empathetic. But
How about impossible?
impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So
It's difficult even for a Black woman, for me as a Black woman, to try to completely try to feel where you're coming from, because the world it's different. My plight is different from your plight. What's expected of you is completely different than what's expected of me. I can feel you more, but I can't understand completely what the way I feel. And this may not be everybody, but when I get stopped by a cop, up until now, I can kind of soften some things and cross and uncross the legs, tilt the hair. I can get away with some stuff. You're worrying about whether you're gonna lose your life or not. Or is this man gonna drop a little something in your car and say, "Oh, I found this. What's this?" Our situations are different now. Of course, they shooting us up. Just things have evolved, but I will never feel to the extent that you feel. So how can we expect a white person to say, or a white not say it? But how can I expect Joe to how can I be mad at him for not feeling what I feel to a degree? You feel like when I'm pregnant, or when a mother is pregnant, she has a caring husband. He sometimes get that with her. He has pain. He can even get to the point where he starts to have not contractions, but you know what I mean.
Right,
They
I'm
have
not
that
getting
sympathy.
dark.
They have that sympathy. You ever heard of sympathy pregnancy? Ooh, Marcus, sympathy pregnancy symptoms. You can even go, depending on how tightly emotionally wound you are. You can start to have that, but you will never ever feel how that woman. You'll never be pregnant. You can say, "Oh, I know how you feel." You don't.
But
And I appreciate you sympathizing with me, but you will never ever know how I feel.
let me finish, because I want to take the attention off of my white brothers for a second. Because I'm not in a relationship with a white person. Since we're talking about the couple side, I have to go to my Hispanic brothers and sisters. And the racial tension that's boiling up underneath there without us having a conversation about it. That needs to be addressed big time, because it's almost like before. It's like I said before in one of our events, that it's like coming into a movie halfway through it and then trying to finish enjoying it. It's impossible. So a lot of people are a lot of, especially Carmen's people, we have conversations about this. are hearing, are getting scared about some of the alarming things that they're hearing, and then reacting off of that versus knowing what it truly is and knowing what
Yep.
it is
Right.
and things like that. So, you know, me and her we have some Black folks and Hispanic folks got some stuff to work out too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Understanding and some healing.
Carmen
well.
is like, mm-hmm.
No, yeah,
Mhm.
That has to be, and I would love to hear more about that, Carmen.
no. So what Marcus is referring to, so even though I know it's probably, you guys think, well, Carmen really wouldn't know because she's a minor. I'm considered a minor, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I think
But believe it or not, minority.
minority.
I'm
She's
sorry,
not a
minority.
minor.
I'm
Not a
sorry.
minor.
I'm like,
It doesn't matter, is it Marcus?
Fix that
I've
real.
been together for a minute now. Come on.
I meant to say minority.
All right, Marcus.
we got you, Carmen. We understand. You're not gonna haul off Marcus to jail. We're good.
We've all been together for a minute, Marcus.
I'm sorry. I'm like thinking ahead. Thinking. Okay.
As you were saying.
So we have like I had said before, we've encountered people like even Mexican people, Latino people who have actually been underlying racist, and even people in our neighborhoods.
Just don't get it.
And unfortunately, Marcus has gotten into some debates with them, on social media.
Babe.
Well, debates. I'll say debates, but I mean, obviously the conversations got heated because, they were commenting on things, kind of jumping to the gun without just
Yeah,
somebody's.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay,
We
and then,
hear a lot of those the repeated things of if you obey the law,
Yeah.
right.
talking points. Get over it. Racism was 400 years. I mean, slavery was 400 years ago. Get over it. Systematic racism is a myth, right? Because we don't feel the effects of it. So why it's not there? Stuff like that.
You're making me mad. You're making me mad.
Actually, me
You
too.
know,
But
like,
yeah.
You're making me mad just
Well-
by even repeating.
That brings up
Well, a
It
lot of
just, when I hear people say that, I'm ready. I see red. I see
Yeah.
blood, and I want to attack. Like, one of the two. You are either horribly retarded, and I don't mean that but I mean you are clinically retarded, or you are willfully
Yeah.
knowing the truth.
Yeah.
And you just want to bait me with it. It's
Or
one of
willful
the two.
ignorance.
It's not, oh, I just didn't know. In this day and age, you a lie. If you don't know, you better go to
Google.
be safe, and you better go Google something, because you'll get hurt out in these streets. So I'm dead serious. If you don't know, go find out. Don't ask me. Go find out. It's one of the two. Either you have been under a rock and you are clinically retarded, or you're trying to bait me. You're racist, and you're trying to cover it up with these little Trump talking points that you're doing. It's one or the other, and neither one is going to fly with me. And I know it's not flying with you, Marcus, because you're not even doing a slow rise on your post. You go straight to the regular. I know. Listen, Joe is starting to do that too. Now, Joe,
Yeah.
they think they can get it. They think they can get away with it with Joe. Joe is going straight for the jugular. I don't care if you friend, family, or foe. Sometimes I'm looking at Joe's post like, oh,
Right.
Tell the one. You can
did
tell
you
the
have
one.
to do him like that? You ain't have to do him like that, Joe.
It sounds like they've had enough. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Let me do this before I don't want to jump ahead, and I apologize to you, the viewers. I do want to recognize you. I appreciate you guys. You've been sharing like crazy. That's what I asked you to do in the beginning. So thank you so much. Now, some people want their names called and they want their comments read, and we don't want to ignore you all. I'm seeing some comments over here. Let's see, Scott Blake says, for me personally, I also understand that I cannot speak to the entirety of the Black experience because I'm the product of an interracial marriage. I try my best to listen and understand those experiences and or feelings shared with me. Thank you for saying that. Let's see.
I got a question for Scott when you get done.
Okay. Also, he says that's why it's uber important to listen, especially when it's so hard to articulate the true depths of the feelings, especially of Black women's experiences, which are unique to them. And he says that's just his personal opinion. Now, I do see a lot of people on here, and again, I appreciate you, Gloria, Araceli, Karen. Ty is on, guys, and also your parents are on. Sure, Dr. Hill it was on. I don't know if she's still on or not, but she was on earlier. Byron Hill is on. Alyssa Davis, Antonio. Let's see, Nicole Burton, Pastor John Jackson. Thank you so much. And some of you may be in interracial relationships right now, and you may be able to relate to this discussion on tonight. So we do encourage you to throw in your comments. If you have questions, even for the panelists on this evening, we can definitely make sure we get those read and get those questions asked. Wesley Smith, we see you, Milton Thomas, Henrietta, Beatrice, and I'm kind of going through a little bit quick because I want to hop back into this conversation. Janetta is on, we thank you. Yanis is on, Buddy Gill is on, and let's see here, Beverly Jeffries, Christian Guzman, excuse me, don't want to change your name. Edward Bryant, we thank you. Divine Favor, Kenneth Smalley, let's see, Wendy Smith is on. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Let's see, Pat is on. We thank you. I see your comments, Dr. Hill. All right, she's throwing in some funny comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to scoop. Ernest Brooks, thank you. Pastor CC is on. Is it Eric Hunt? Eric Hunt? Eric. Did I do a little fancy thing with his name there?
French thing.
All right, I did the French thing. That's between. Okay, I got you. Gilla Smith is on. Chanelda, thank you for watching. I see you guys here on the watch party as well. Dr. Regina Brooks. Is it Natalie? Is it with the H in there? Did I say that? Did I say it right? I hope I did.
Nathalie.
Nathalie. Look, I wanted to do that, but I didn't know if I was going to sound weird or not. Evelyn Farrell, Lupe Martinez, thank you. Juan is on. Thank you. We appreciate you guys. Auntie Ida, we see you. Thank you. William Smith, Lisa Williams. Let's see.
Joel.
We did mention Scott. We see Joel Hunt is on. Thank you. Let's see. Deborah Smith, Robin. Yeah, we called your name Ty. Thank you so much for watching. We want to call his name again. Cheryl, we see you on Nedra. Tanya, let's see, Lori, Rachi. Okay, Melanie, Eric, and Yvette. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I tried to call the names that I saw. I don't want you guys to think that we're ignoring you. It's just such a hot conversation.
You need to do a part two.
It's flowing. And I'm good for it. You know I am.
With at least one more couple.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a little. She's producing, helping me over here. I love you, girl. I want to throw it back to you, Apostle. I know because you had some questions too. I know you started off with one. Why? Tell me why, Apostle. Why?
Apostle, can I ask Scott one question real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. Scott Blake, why do you feel, I have always identified you, Scott Blake is my friend from years back, really cool people. Why do you not identify as a Black man? I've always identified you as a Black man, and I know you're mixed, but are you not viewed as a Black man when you walk through the streets? Do you not have the same experiences? Are you not? Stop, Marcus. No, dead serious, because I think that he minimizes his experience. I think, and Scott is a very insightful person, is what I'm saying. He's one of those with as far as the Black. So I think that you're minimizing your experience. Why do you not identify as a Black man? Why do you feel like you don't have the experiences that a typical, and maybe you don't, that a typical Black man has?
Absolutely.
I feel like you do. I feel like you're very Black man, but I'm just curious as to why you say that.
That's a great question. So if you want to make sure you throw that into the comment section on tonight, I would love to hear your response. Because they said you have what, just the drop? Black love? You really Black?
Can I speak to that a little bit?
Why don't you?
Some of that though could be rooted in cultural experience. So
Yeah.
if I have a Black father and a white mother, or and a Hispanic mother, then I'm going to learn both cultures. I'm going to, and so it could kind of because you feel like culturally you're kind of spread, you
Yeah.
know, that it's not a complete Black experience for you.
And that's why I wonder about him. I remember talking about him, about his upbringing, and with his mom and his mom and his dad. But I'm just very curious because I've always thought that he gets the Black experience.
Yeah, even though the world is going to view him a certain way, regardless, but internally, he could be experiencing it, you know, a whole level of it that we just don't see.
Don't, yeah.
I would, if it's okay. I'm sorry, just real quick, in answer to Brandy's question. Not that I could answer it, but I had a friend. He was a Black man. His wife was white. They had mixed children, and it bothered him when people would call his children Black. Of course, the world is going to look at his children as Black, but he just felt like their mother was such a good mother to their children. He just felt insulted that she wasn't being represented as, you know, a mixture of half of what their children was. So, he didn't want people to call his children Black. He wanted people to call them mixed because they were. The children were.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that.
And have his mother, which makes sense.
Yeah.
He's Black, your friend? Nikki,
Right? No, I'm sorry. No, my friend, he's Black. Yes, he's Black. I'm sorry.
Wife is white.
And his wife was white. And she was a great mother. She was a great person. And it insulted him it was almost like she still never got credit for them for being, half of what, half of what they are. So it wasn't necessary. He understood that the world sees them as Black, but he's like, hey, they have this great mother here. Don't discount her just because, they are not 100% white. She's still half of what they are. So call them mixed and not Black.
I
get it.
can understand his thought. I'm wondering if there's something deeply rooted there.
Okay.
Like maybe in addition to
Carmen Marcus, can you speak?
credit. In addition to I want her to get the credit, but I don't necessarily, because I don't know if they have sons or anything like that, but nowadays it doesn't matter, sons or daughters. But I don't want my children to I don't have to worry about whether my son's going to come home at night, or, you know what I mean? Or if he's just totally labeled as Black.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's thinking because he's mixed, maybe he has a little chance. You know what I mean?
It's possible. It's possible. Very
Now when you call people, here's the thin line with that, because I'm afraid of offending, because if I call you mixed, there are a lot of mixed race people who are like, I'm Black. How dare you diminish my Blackness? You know what I mean? That's a thin line.
But that's the point I was making.
Yeah, I don't know.
It depends on how you view yourself. Are you viewing yourself through the lens of your cultural background and your DNA, or who you are in your place in society and society's view on you? And so I would say anybody that's mixed, society is pretty much going to view you Black.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't take away from knowledge of self and knowing who I am and these two wonderful parents, no matter what race they are, that produce me. I can acknowledge that, and I can be proud of both. It's okay. It's okay to be mixed and proud of both of where you came from. It's okay. And
Right.
so, but a lot of people feel like society is going to view me this way, so this is what I identify with. Because when I walk out that door, then this is what I'm susceptible to. Because
Okay. I see some comments here from Antonio. He says, we grew up being treated different by our Hispanic side of the family. Wow. Wow. I would love to hear more about that.
He's who I was going to suggest, if we do a part 2, I was going to suggest that Antonio be the next guest, if him and his wife will.
Antonio,
Okay.
who?
Antonio Brooks. I'm sorry, Antonio Perez. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This is good, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Because that's interesting to me. He said the Hispanic side of the family were treating him different. But I mean, again, this is good to have this conversation because we don't know side and or is it a combination of both? Alyssa says here, I was in interracial relationships for decades since her teens and can speak to some of what you guys have said, but it's been a while. I can't imagine what couples are going through right now. I love everyone in this conversation and I'm so appreciative how open everyone is. I'm not surprised, just appreciative. And also, thank you for your transparency. She says, the baby that I lost would have been mixed. And I honestly think about what that child would be going through today, even more than decades ago. We have definitely gone backwards in this country and it scares me to death.
I did not know that. I've known Alyssa for more than 10 years. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's something to think about. I think I want to kind of segue. I have a question for Marcus and Carmen. I know that we actually kind of, chatted. I asked the question earlier about, did you think about, whatever you would probably face before you got together? Did you think about those things? Now, in terms of your children, beautiful, beautiful children, what are your thoughts now, about them and the racial tensions that we are experiencing? I know, Carmen, you already started talking about one of the little ladies and what they're experiencing now. So kind of talk to us about, rearing children in this climate.
She said, Carmen, talk about it.
Either one of you.
Okay, I'll go. So for me, it was difficult because I knew growing up when we first had Leia, I knew she was going to have to, I told Marcus, I want her to learn both our cultures. I want her to know where she comes from, not just my Mexican side and, or just his African-American side. But I think at one point I was trying to teach her the African-American side too. And then Marcus was like, no. You can't teach her that.
Right.
That's to come from me. Because,
No.
He's
Mom,
right.
why are you crawling
Why
across
is
the floor?
my mother crawling on the floor?
Is that a ghost?
No, it's Summer. She keeps sneaking in here.
No, that
was my mom
that
crawling
was-
on the floor.
That was mom.
I'm
Summer.
sorry. I thought that was summer.
That was mom.
Carmen, go ahead. Go back to the
Sorry,
no.
Carmen.
But
It was
No.
just distracting.
just saying.
So Marcus did say it's not your job. That's not your place to teach her that. It's my
Wow.
place because he would tell me you don't know what it's like to be Black, and it's true. And I had to, like I said, I had to seek to understand because I was always trying to relate, our Mexican, because we went through some racism, but we didn't go through the kind of racism he went through, and then you guys like not even close.
Yeah.
So I knew it's my responsibility to teach Leia her Mexican side, teaching her Spanish, which I failed. But I'm gonna get back to it. And knowing our culture, and then he was gonna take on the task for that. But I will say this, and this is something, and I think God did something to me, because like I mentioned earlier, growing up, I was teased. Me and my twin. I have a twin. We were teased a lot, especially by the color of our skin, and we were just Mexican girls growing up in El Barrio, whatever, in 26th Street. So I was always teased about the color of my skin and that I was ugly, and so of course it conditioned my mind that being dark skinned or getting darker was ugly. So I used to do this when I was little, because I used to think maybe if I can get lighter, I'll be pretty. So I used to, some of my even friends from grade school can attest to this. I used to walk around with an umbrella during the summer so I wouldn't get any darker because I thought if I did, I would get uglier. And, that was something that thank God I grew out of that because, we were bullied a lot because of, how I looked and, whatever. So,
By Caucasian people?
That and Mexican people too. Not just it wasn't just Caucasian people. It was some Mexican people too. Kids. that were teasing me and my sister. So I think, and I remember always telling my mom when I was in high school, like 14 or 15, Mom, I'm gonna marry a white dude. I'm gonna marry a white guy, so you know, maybe I can be more light skinned, and maybe my kids can be light skinned. And my mom would always look at me like, why would you think that way? Why would you? Well, because you know that was something that was kind of like linked in my brain that if I was lighter, I would be prettier, and it's absolutely not true. And
Wow.
looking back, I can't believe I've ever had those thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Lord and behold, God said, no, no, no.
No, no,
I
no.
You ain't gonna ever think that again.
You have white people that are trying to get tans to
I
look.
know.
And,
And, you
and
know-
dark people trying to bleach.
You know, but I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say that, but yeah, and I'm being transparent because that's just how, you know, growing up, that's how I unfortunately had that thought in my head.
Hold
And
on.
then-
Sorry. I told you. I'm
Did you
so
step on-
sorry.
No, the dog is upset over the story as much as we are.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm
I thought you finished it all.
no, that's
No,
Did you want to add, Marcus?
I think she took up a lot of what I was gonna say.
But Carmen, let's. I think it's amazing that you, even though Marcus is like, no, no, no. I think it's amazing that you took it upon yourself to teach try to teach your daughters their Black heritage. Of course, you can't really, but I think it's amazing that you tried to. A lot of mothers or fathers of different descents are like, well, they'll learn. But let me tell you about, my part. So I think that's pretty amazing that you even had that in your heart to do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. My hat is off to you as well for doing that. And thanks for sharing that. And someone put on here, you are beautiful, Carmen, and I totally agree.
She is. It's stupid. Kids are so stupid.
Yeah,
Was that-
it's amazing. Even though, okay, we're older now, we're adults or whatever, and you think back, oh, kids are just so cruel. And they can be. They can be. But yeah, I'm glad you grew out of it as well. I guess, like you said, God has a sense of humor who He connected you with. So, Alyssa says here, I was one of those people trying to get tan. Okay.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Antonio says here, lighter Hispanics are also racist towards darker Hispanics.
yes.
That's crazy.
Well, no, because isn't that true though with Black culture as well?
Yeah. We have a
'Cause I saw a documentary on that.
yeah. I didn't know Hispanics did it though. I didn't know that was a thing between Hispanics though.
What's
That's
the one? Is it School Days? With
Brown paper bag, you got to be lighter.
the one to be the jigaboos.
Yeah. I'm a jigaboo.
The case with most cultures that have darker people. I had a roommate from Morocco
I'm a jigaboo too.
who was
No, you're
pretty
not,
nice
Apostle.
all the time.
You had a roommate where? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Nikki.
No, I was saying I had a roommate. I think it's the case with most cultures that have people of color. I had a roommate from Morocco who, I mean, she went through hell every day. We even had a discussion where she asked me, how do you deal with being, darker skinned? Because I mean, she went through depression almost on a daily basis because of the way the men made her feel. And she was almost Adam's color, but she was dark in comparison to the women in her culture that men actually like. So,
And they are so beautiful.
Huh?
Darker skin, this may come out wrong. Charge it to my head and not my heart. Wait, my dark skinned women, women of all races who are the dark skin, I'm talking Middle Eastern, Mexican. I just got a thing with dark skin. It's the brown skin is so beautiful. And then to see that you're being teased or you're depressed because of something that's so beautiful. Now, of course, I didn't think this as a child because I was teased. I wished I could be lighter, wished my big lips could be smaller. I did that as a child, but as an adult, we fly. I don't understand. I guess I don't, especially when I see Middle Eastern, Hispanic women. It goes without saying with Black women, but I'm like, their skin is so beautiful. They are so beautiful.
But you know,
Like,
those-
Carmen, you are so beautiful. I cannot comprehend.
right. But you know, those thoughts are taught.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's why even when you were younger, because I experienced that too. I thought my lip, they used to call me saucer lips. They said
Yep.
my lips were bigger, than my face. And I would just wish my lips were smaller. I love the size of my lips now.
I promise you, they so gorgeous. Them, them soup coolers. They call them soup coolers, Annette.
You know what? I think we kind of grow into our features.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
European features are always they're exaggerated, they're fuller, and as we get older, we grow into ourselves and grow into our features. I can remember though, and the reason why I kind of threw that, we got this little thing, they tease me because they think that I'm light skinned. But I can say this, transparent moment. I can remember as a child wanting to be darker.
Same here.
Wow.
Literally wanting to be darker than what I am. First of all, as a child, I was lighter than what I am now. So age and the sun and all that stuff, has darkened me. If you look at my arm, or you'll see how light I really was. But I can remember. Shut up, Pastor Cece. You Pastor Cece over here. But I can remember wanting to be darker as a child. And I think, some of the stuff I went through as far as racism and the overt racism I can remember a grown man bringing out his shotgun, telling us he was going to shoot us for playing in front of his house, stuff like that. But what it did to me, and I think it kind of made me angry. And so it was like, oh yeah, I want to be blacker then, So that it was a different psychological thing. And to be honest, that probably still creeps up in my head now, to be honest.
That
That's
PTSD
that PTSD.
Yeah.
Exactly.
going on.
Adam, you wanted to be darker?
Yeah, growing up, like I know it's the cliche thing to say, but a lot of my friends were black because I grew up in a military.
Oh,
family.
okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
my stepdad is Italian. You met my stepdad at the wedding.
Yeah.
When growing up, during the summer, him being in the military, he would be so dark. He was almost as dark as you and Nikki and Mark.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
he was so dark, and I wanted to be like that. I wanted, to be able to tan and get dark like that. And
Okay.
the more I was out in the sun, I just become redder.
Yeah. He's like your European, Scottish, British fair skin. He just gets red.
I mean,
That's
I,
Joe.
I'm
He gets red.
I used to
Wrong
go out in the sun
Had the
for
wrong
I
effect.
wanted to be less pink. That was my problem.
Right.
Yeah.
I would
Listen,
get, oh, you're so pink. You're so.
Oh, wow, where'd it go? I want to read this comment. I think Scott Blake responded to you, Brandy. I'm gonna read this and then I want to ask you guys something else. I hope I don't forget it. Let's see here, because he wrote a book. Brandy, I view myself as a Black man, not to say I ignore or deny my mother's side. The rest of the world puts me in whatever box it sees fit. This depends on where I'm located. I've also had Black people accuse me of not being Black enough.
I was gonna say,
And one implied that I was devoid of an entire soul because of my of being biracial. Wow. Maybe it's a bit different now for the younger generation, but growing up, there were many instances where I was essentially put in the middle and looked at with scrutiny from both sides, when all I was trying to do was simply belong. I've had family from my dad's side treat me different for being white. My mom's side of the family was very small, but most of them were cool with me. As a child, it was a bit confusing at times. Okay. As I got older, I appreciated my heritage more because it has allowed me to see things from both cultural perspectives. One of my biggest gripes was with my family because those were the last people I needed to remind me of what I was. I still have older relatives who like to mention my being white like I'm something exotic. Wow. Thank you for answering her question, Scott.
Yeah, you
That was
did.
deep. That
Yeah,
was
you
deep.
did.
There was
I
so
wanted to
much
ask him.
in that we can unpack and peel back, but we'll probably have to do that on the second show.
How do you deal with hatred from
On
both
both
sides
sides
of
of
your
it.
family?
That's-
Like, how do
Or not just your family, but the world in general. Like he's getting, we get the hate from opposite sides, but now he gets it from both sides.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna say earlier is being biracial, I'm sure they get it twice as bad. Because you're either black or you're not black enough. Or you're
Yep.
or you're not white enough.
Yeah.
So they get it twice as bad.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just because you're black or just because you're white or Hispanic or whatever.
Wow.
You're not the full thing of either.
You know, so far for us with the girls, I mean, well, Marcus isn't here, but I kind of want him to say, he's helping mom. I don't, so far the girls, I feel, maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like they're getting equally loved on both sides. I don't feel like Marcus's family ever makes them feel like they're less of black or Mexican. And like with my family, they've never, at least that I saw, unless Marcus wants to correct me, but I've never saw them feel like they were degrading the black side or degrading the Hispanic side. I've never seen that.
Who?
Like our families with the girls. Like they, unless I'm wrong, I told them.
Why you buck up, Marcus? Who's degrading my kids? Who degrading my kids?
Coming in halfway in the movie.
No, so far, yeah, that's been good, and I want to keep it that way. And we always, like Marcus is constantly always telling the girls, "You guys are black, you're beautiful, you're Mexican, you're beautiful." And I tell them too, you both need to be proud of both sides that you come from. And I always tell them, you girls are part of two beautiful cultures, and that people wish they can be part of two
Come on.
these beautiful cultures. So I'm instilling that
Adam said
that
in the beginning.
mindset in them. That unfortunately for me, I mean, and not that my parents it wasn't their fault that I thought the way I did. Unfortunately, because they were always constantly working.
Yep.
They really didn't have time to,
Yep.
Kind of, what do you call it? Kind of whatever.
Counteract.
Mold us.
Negative.
So I paid attention to the people, my peers, school, and things like that. So I'm trying, like both of us are always trying to implant that with them. Like you guys are, yes, you're mixed, but you're beautifully mixed with these two things, and
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
Real quick. I know I missed the last 10 minutes. I was getting my mom ready. When she's here, anything can happen. But we were crawling on the floor and everything. We were raised like tough, to be tough. So a lot of the things that I see some of the kids today getting exposed to, we got exposed to back then, but we were so tough that, I mean, y'all, people think that I'm hardcore a little bit. Y'all see my two oldest sisters. That's where a lot of that stuff came from. And from them, it came from us being tough when we grew up. So we passed that down to the girls, and they live we're blessed that they just live a good life. They understand certain things, they see certain things, but they love everybody. They love all their friends, different colors and all that, Hispanic, white, black, they Asian, but they love them all. And they understand that can beat luck, can beat anything. But you still got to keep an eye open for some of the other weird stuff that's going on.
I was gonna ask you that. At some point I was at this dilemma with the boys, and that's before it. See, y'all are bringing up babies in Armageddon. That's just how I'm thinking. Y'all are bringing up babies in Armageddon. When I was bringing up the kids, it wasn't such a racism was always there. It was always prominent, but we hid it a little bit more. So my question was, you know how universal Brandon is. In fact, he can walk in a room and I don't care what color you are, you're going to want to be his best friend. So I'm going to Brandon's things and I'm just seeing all these pictures where he's the only little black spot in the picture. And I was like, this is beautiful. But they ain't all like that. So do I continue to raise my children with oh, the world is a beautiful place and I love all people? Or do I raise my black sons to let them know, okay, you haven't hit it yet, but there's dangers out here. And I don't want you to be getting invited to a party in the middle of the woods somewhere and you're like, oh, la di da. No, there's dangers. There are people out here that are not for you. There are people, I'm worried about somebody spiking your drink because Brandon literally, my boys are the life of the party. That's that for me, but they're the life of the party. So take away the racism. There are people who will be jealous of you just because everywhere you go, people are trying to be your friend. Now add in this black man is taking all the attention away from blah blah blah. So do I raise them to be multicultural and they love everybody and this is a wonderful world, or do I give them some heart, poison them? Because I feel like it was poisoning them with the harsh facts. You need to be safer. You need to be more mindful that everything out there is not golden. I ran into that. Yes, sir.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's an excellent question. I think some knowledge and wisdom ought to be time released. So I think you let them be innocent as long as possible.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's what I wanted to do.
Until there comes a time where they gotta know.
Yeah.
And you'll know as a parent. There are times where they're going into different stages of their life, or they may be entering into a stage where they're not as closely connected to you. They're growing up.
Yes.
So you gotta say, okay, here's what you need to watch out for. Here's what I need you to still not forget who you are. But
Yes.
understand that there are people
Yes.
who don't like you for who you are. And this is how you deal with it.
Apostle, do you think it's a parallel, like you're raising a daughter compared to a son?
That's what I was thinking about. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Man, this is so hot tonight. I have 3 pages of stuff. I don't think I got the end yet.
I got a question that I was going to ask, and can I throw it in? Can I throw it in there real quick?
Of course you can.
So we all know that there are stereotypes, black stereotypes,
Come
white
with it.
stereotypes,
Come with it.
Hispanic, Latino stereotypes. Is there ever a moment in your relationship, in your home, behind closed doors? You look at your significant other and say, "I see. I couldn't say it." There you go. Is there ever a time?
No, I want to hear this whole question.
I want to hear the whole question.
That Carmen used the N word.
Marcus been telling us for years. Marcus has been telling us for years that Carmen uses that word, and for a minute I was in my feelings until I had to realize this is Marcus. This is Marcus here.
Carmen almost as well as Marcus knows Carmen, and that word would never come out of her mouth. Marcus stood up and Marcus could yell at her and pay her to say that word, and she still.
Vicky, ask her.
No,
Ask her.
which N word? Specify the N word, not the EGR one. No, but I have used the NEGRO on him when I got mad at him.
Oh, said, "Look, Negro."
That's different.
Exactly.
That's different. That's a
very
attention.
He said, "Wait a minute, Negro. Wait a minute."
No, she called you what you are. That's not fine. Apostle, what's your whole question though?
Yeah,
No, that was the question. Have you guys ever encountered that moment where the stereotype was staring you right in the face?
Oh yeah.
What do you
And
mean? What do you mean?
And how
Give me an example.
whatever the stereotype may be for you or your significant other.
Yes.
Black people always do this. White
Yes.
people always do that.
Look at him.
Being in your home, in your interracial relationship, oh, that's not us. We don't do that.
Absolutely.
A lot of stereotypes come from the truth. So it's not
Right.
bad to say that let's
Some
not lie.
stereotypes are observations, not
Yeah.
stereotypes.
Let's not lie. A lot of stereotypes are birthed in truth.
Yes.
Does Joe pay bills 45 days early? Yes. Does he arrive to every event 3 hours early? Yes. Is his credit good? Yes.
Is Brady
I'm just kidding.
angry?
I'm kidding. Am I an angry black woman? Yes.
bruises.
I love this. I love this. But you know what? I mean, like you said, you're in the privacy of your own home. You know, it may come up like that. But I guess my additional question to what Apostle said: do either of you become offended?
No,
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
we don't. I don't think any
It's
bad.
funny
thing
with
is
us.
like,
It's funny with us.
We laugh.
Marcus does.
Oh, we laugh.
Marcus
We
get
laugh.
mad.
it's actually hilarious.
It is funny to me. Joel be
It's
like, okay,
hilarious.
I'm ordering groceries. You want that? Of course, you want 2 watermelons.
Want that watermelon,
Again, you
right.
want that
Right,
watermelon.
exactly.
Well, it just so happens it's true. Yes, you
Right.
Now,
I mean, what is
but
it
Want
bad
the,
about?
want the chicken fried or grilled?
right, and
never
you
mind, I
know,
already know.
you know,
Get it and everything.
that's where I was
Like, the
going.
grilled chicken's fan.
you know how I want it.
What we having tonight? Chicken, I know.
Okay, so Marcus, did Carmen say that you get offended?
Yes, and here's why. I think we should address this now that we got people watching.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully it expands out into the universe. So that N word,
Oh, he's still on there.
and I get a lot of people that ask me, and I'm sure they ask y'all the same thing too. Why can't we use it if y'all use it a lot too, right? And I still can't fathom how that question is even asked.
Yeah.
But I'll try real quick in 30 seconds to explain. So, to me, I don't like the word period.
Right.
Do I use it a couple times when I'm feeling a certain type of way?
Yes. Yeah.
But that's a whole totally different boat from any other culture using that word. I don't
And
care
you
which
know it. And you know
version.
it. You know it.
It's
We did it yesterday.
It's a word that some people decided to use it as term of slang or endearment and things like that, and we dealing with that situation now. We don't need added on hassle with that word with any other culture besides African Americans using that word, because it just muddies the water, and then it gets a little weird. And I used to like to fight. And if I think whether you think it's a term of endearment or not, if I think you're using it and you shouldn't be using it, then we just don't have an issue. And
Period.
our relationship don't end. Like, period.
And guess what? That question is getting old, people.
It really is.
It's getting real old. Well, why can't I use it? You know what? You can do it. Go out in the streets, do it right now. In fact, use it with me right now, and you're not going to ask any more questions. You just the response that you get when you stop playing these games.
There are
with me.
other terms of endearment
Thank you.
that a white person can use.
Thank you.
What do you call your mother? What do you call your boy when you're playing basketball? I know nigga never comes up, so why is it suddenly coming up with me as a term of endearment?
We just had this about
Outta
the B
here.
word. We had this conversation about the B word.
Yep.
I mean, it's certain people you can use it with, certain people you can't.
Who can you use it with?
Oh, I can use the B word on a lot.
And
I
just
want to
use
hear this.
common sense. Just use common sense. If you know
Yeah.
Black people
Oh,
have a derogatory history of white people using it in a derogatory manner towards Black people, just don't do it. And if I mean, he knows you're my spouse, you're my significant other. Don't let the thought even cross your mind to ever, because it's a wrap after that. Like that's another level of insult. That's not just insult. That's
Gonna be the first 48 up in Nikki's house.
Exactly.
But at the same time,
Feel, though,
well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Apostle.
some people feel like the way you say it makes all the difference. in the
No.
world.
It does. It does.
Well,
It does. But white people can't say.
We
There's
can't
no
say it
proper
right.
way for you to say it. Let's just say that. There's no. We shouldn't be saying it really.
You know,
But if
I-
you white, there's no way.
I
would
get
like to say
uncomfortable
this.
when I hear people just
Exactly.
saying it. Like when the boys do it, I get uncomfortable.
Yeah. If you don't understand the pain, the anguish that's connected to that word, you know, some of us, that's the last word they heard before they left here.
Right.
Right.
And if you don't understand that type of pain, anguish, fear, anxiety, connected to that word, then you should not use it.
Exactly.
You should not use it at all.
Now, can
Let
I
me
ask this
do
question?
another layer to that. There's another layer. Now, I was thinking about this when Marcus was talking. Now, Nikki and Brandy, because Brandy said, "Oh, we kind of laugh about or whatever, so something like that. You may not take, and we're still talking about the N word, you ladies may not have taken as big an offense to it as Marcus. That's how, so that the layer I'm talking about is the gender layer. So, knowing that, our Black men, a lot of times that's probably the first thing that they will up and call you all, in a minute.
I fought every day over that one.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I fought every day over that one.
Right. So it probably affected you different because you were a man, you're a Black man, as opposed to the Black, women here. So
what would be a reason to call a woman a nigger other than her being?
It has happened. There is no reason, but it has happened.
Like, my nigga, good game. I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't
It's
see
usually
that.
it's hyphenated with a woman.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, well then we know what you on then.
Yeah.
It's no question.
It's a double thing.
Oh, Apostle, you're making me mad.
Yep. And he's right, because I was just about to say, because the name has kind of changed, if you will.
It morphs, yeah.
Added on too. So yeah, that's definitely something to look at. You guys, this is hot. Oh my goodness. I think Prophet Rolanda says your eye is gonna end up another color, and I think she's saying that if someone calls them the N-word. Oh my goodness.
Adam's got to say, if y'all don't let Adam say what he's gonna say, he's gonna call us after this show. He's exploding.
Come on,
He's
Adam.
exploding.
Please talk. I didn't see you.
When we first got together, she would try to get me to say it.
Okay, first of all,
She would.
She still does.
Just like you do. She would try to get me to say it, but now,
Nikki, I do that too.
that's where I got.
One
Where
day,
you think I got it
Apostle,
from?
Apostle, forgive me. One day, I just might. Just to see what she does.
As I told him, I know you be thinking it sometimes. So
No,
just
I don't.
and he doesn't. But I'm like, I know you think it sometimes. I know it's in you. Just say it so I want to see what you look like when you say it. And he's like, I don't want to say it.
No, don't ever say it.
But Apostle, can I I'm going to ask this question of Apostle.
Adam wasn't done.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam, were you done?
no. But now it's almost a reverse thing.
Oh.
She'll call me the N-word. Like
Adam,
N-word.
Nikki.
No.
And then I'm like, look here, Hawkins.
I believe that.
hey, the thing about it is, we had this discussion before we said, don't be saying inappropriate stuff that's supposed to be just our. You ain't right. Tell people.
You were supposed to tell us that, Adam.
About it.
That was supposed to stay in the bar.
You feel me?
That's good to hear, though. It's still good to hear. You're still helping somebody else out on here. You really are.
Marcus is like,
No, it wasn't for dogs.
I believe you, Adam. I 100% believe that.
You know your sister, right? Celia Taylor says, I have Black sons and one has lighter complexion than the other. And we had to have the conversation that one will experience racism at different times. Or friends may treat their brother differently because he's either too light or too dark.
they did that with me and Nikki.
Wow.
They did that. Nikki always got better treatment.
Too, right?
Yeah. Huh?
With Brian and Marcus too.
Oh yeah. They did that with us. And I used to tease my mom and dad. I look at all of our pictures and I would pick out something that Nikki had on that was better. I was always dirtier or tore up. And I was like, Mom, why do you put all these tore up clothes? It's because I was dark. And she's like, no, little girl, it's because you
were a
climbed trees in your
tomboy.
Dresses
Thank
and
you.
rolled all over in the dirt. But
Yes,
they
you were a
did.
tomboy.
Mom used to check. I remember Mom checking. I used to be like, what's happened, Mommy? She used to check people when they would try to treat Nikki better than me. I don't remember it so much with Marcus and Brian, but I definitely remember with me and Nikki. And I was finer than her. I was cuter than her. So I don't even know how.
It
That
was sad because it actually broke my heart as much as Brandy because they would do it right in front of
us. They sure would.
Like,
They sure
and,
would.
and I'm listening to this lady say this inappropriate stuff, and at the same time I'm looking at my sister who I love be mad at me. I mean, we were kids, so that's the only way she knew how to respond. And it kind of traumatized me because I mean, it hurt me just as bad because I didn't think, it just, it's just sad. It is sad, but I think it's good that she's getting her kids ready for that because it is gonna happen. It's
Yeah,
sad.
for sure. Hey, look, this is what I want to do, guys. I hate to even think about cutting this off, but I can't keep you guys here all night. We're gonna have to try and do a part two. We have to. And there's so much that we haven't even touched.
You said you had 3 pages, so that might.
Later, go back. So if you guys are willing, we can try and set something up for another time. I do thank you guys for even bringing this to the table. Wesley says here, thank you to the teams here and all of your input. We definitely need more discussion like this in today's world, and I think so.
Wesley inbox me for that link for inbox Dr. Hunt.
Oh.
This is the only way I'm gonna talk to him. I think inbox Dr.
got it.
Hunt.
I got it.
It's a different link, huh?
I got 'em on.
You got him? Okay.
Okay, so he'll take care of that. All right. So what I'm going to do real quick is actually, Elder Kevin McGee has a spoken word. I want to play that before we end on tonight. So I want you guys to take a listen to this and let me know what you think.
We're in this love together. We got the kind that will last forever. Here we are, the two of us, bound by vows to love, honor, and cherish, for better or for worse, even when faced with those who deem us not worthy for us to be together because of the hue and the melanin. Listen, skin tones doesn't run that deep because love is deeper. And while you waste your time and energy trying to analyze our happiness, you're missing out on your own. Missing out on your right to love whomsoever you please. No comments needed from the peanut galleries because at the end of the day, whomever we choose to go home with and wake up to every morning to raise a family and grow old with, that's our business. Because what God has ordained, we will not let you put asunder. Because we are in this love together. Our togetherness doesn't include you. Like Crayola crayons, red and yellow can make orange, blue and red can make purple, and us? Trust me, we can make some pretty babies. So close your mouth, check your irritation and hate at the door, because it's not allowed in our space or in our face. Because we are in this love together. We got the kind that will last forever. That forever kind of love that knows no color. That forever kind of love that flows in a complete circle that will never be broken. That forever kind of love that's God given, passion driven. It's a love with precision. Yeah, that's what we have.